It's happening. Everyone took you for granted, but now your quiet absence is the loudest declaration they'll ever hear. Tomorrow, Mercury moves into Punarvasu, a quiet cosmic shift barely being talked about. But trust me, it's about to affect you and everyone around you. This specific alignment activates a sacred return, not of people into your life, but of clarity into your soul. You'll start to pull away from those who mistreated you, people who drained you, underestimated you, ignored your value. They are about to feel the silence of your absence louder than the noise of your presence ever was. You're not slamming the door. You're simply not opening it anymore. And trust this, they will notice. Your energy used to be freely accessible. Now, it's protected. And as awareness sharpens around you, the things you don't say will echo the loudest. And if lately you've noticed small shifts around you, like someone changed their tone, you can share one of those moments below. If it resonates, you could even leave 555 along with your thoughts in order to align with this shift that is evolving in the next 48 hours. And if you've noticed yourself talking less lately, but when you do speak, it hits differently, keep watching because there's one specific shift behind this change. I will break it down in just a moment, so stick around. But first, what if the people who hurt you are about to come back? And what if the universe is daring you to let them in again? Not every return is a gift. Some are tests dressed as second chances. This energy is magnetic. It pulls, it seduces, it replays the past just enough to make you question whether it's worth revisiting. But don't be fooled. Yes, people may circle back. They might reach out, check in, casually reappear like nothing happened. But pay close attention, many of them won't come with apologies. They'll come with requests, they'll come with familiar tones and fake smiles, hoping you forgot who they really were. This isn't the universe giving you what you've been missing. This is the universe testing if you've learned the difference between missing something and needing it. And here's what makes this dangerous. These returning energies, they won't look toxic, they'll look comforting, nostalgic, easy, but that's the trap. This moment is a fork in the road. One way takes you back into cycles that drained you, the other into a new era where your peace doesn't require permission. Choose wisely. You walked away, and somehow they're still orbiting you. Here's what they won't admit out loud. Your silence made them louder. Not in truth, just in volume. As soon as you pulled your energy back, they started mimicking it. The way you talk, the way you move, your phrases, your ideas, even your quiet. But it doesn't land. Because it never was the words, was it? It was the frequency behind them, the way Mercury has been working through you, translating truth into tone, depth, into simplicity. People are trying to carry your essence, but all they have is the shell. No signal, just noise. You see, when you're present, they ignore it. When you're absent, they start studying your ghost like it holds the answers. But what they don't understand is that you were never performing. You were channeling. And now that you're not there, they're reaching for the echo. They're scrambling to imitate a vibration they never understood. It's almost funny, except it's not. Because while they're out there copying the surface, you've already evolved beneath it. You're not missing, you've simply become too original to be found in familiar places. And the more they try to replicate your presence, the more obvious it becomes. You're not just gone, you're irreplaceable. Your essence wasn't a mood. It was a moment in alignment. And that moment, it's moved on. The influence remains, but they'll never be able to carry it. Because Mercury isn't blessing imitation. It's rewarding authentic frequency. And while they're busy being knockoffs, you're becoming the next prototype. Peace isn't the absence of noise, it's the moment you stop subscribing to what never deserved your attention. It's strange how quiet the mind gets when you stop trying to make things make sense. This shift, this precise alignment, isn't just cosmic, it's surgical. And it's cutting cords you didn't even realize were draining you. All those cycles of overthinking, all that replaying of old conversations, the wondering if they understood, if they cared, if you should have said more, it's gone. Just like that. Like someone cleared your psychic inbox. Not because you got an answer, but because you no longer need one. The truth is, Mercury in this placement wipes out the unnecessary noise, the static, the background tabs running on mental autopilot. You're not obsessed with closure anymore. You're not mentally pacing in loops. You're not solving anything because there's nothing left to solve. And in that silence, something starts arriving, not distractions, not hollow, new chapters that feel like filler, but real, raw, aligned destiny, ideas, visions, clarity, even desires you forgot you had. They begin to land again, not because you're searching, but because you finally made room. You're not healing anymore, you're updating, and that's the shift no one saw coming. Because when they lost you, they thought you were just disappearing. They had no idea the universe was rewiring you, line by line. This isn't absence, this is divine maintenance. And as your mind clears, something else quietly returns. Your power to create, your ability to channel, and a future that doesn't look like compensation for the past, but like something that was always yours, finally unblocked. But be careful what steps into that airspace next, because what you accept now will shape the next version of who you become. They don't get you anymore because they were never meant to in the first place. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way people have started looking at you slightly differently. That subtle confusion in their voice when they ask how you've been, like they're trying to figure out what changed, but don't quite know how to ask. Some might say you're being distant. Some might call it cold. Others think you're just distracted. But here's the truth. You're not harder to read because you're hiding. You're harder to read because you're finally no longer broadcasting. This shift didn't make you mysterious. It made you selective. Before, people could scan your energy the way you'd read a book cover. Now, that cover is blank. The pages, sealed. And unless someone's intention matches your depth, they get nothing back. This isn't you being guarded. It's the cosmic filter being activated. Surface-level conversations, they short-circuit, shallow check-ins. They feel invasive now. And that's because Mercury isn't amplifying volume, it's tuning into frequency. Which means if someone doesn't know how to listen beyond your words, they're not going to hear anything at all. You haven't changed. You've just stopped translating yourself for people who never truly listened. And as this energy intensifies, it becomes obvious who only knew the you that explained yourself too much, overshared out of habit, or softened your truth to be palatable. That version is fading. Now, when someone looks at you, they see reflection instead of familiarity. You're becoming a mirror, one that only reflects what's real, what's raw, what's intentional. And yes, this will confuse people. It might even frustrate them. Because when they try to access you using the old keys, they find that none of the locks open anymore. You're still there, still grounded, still present. But the part of you they used to grasp, that's no longer public property. This shift isn't rejection, it's redirection. And the real ones, the aligned ones, they'll know how to show up. Not with questions, not with assumptions, but with presence, with energy, with truth, because that's the only language you speak now. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful sound in the room? What if your quiet wasn't confusion, but calibration? What if your sudden pause, your urge to not speak, not explain, not defend, wasn't you shutting down, but you being silenced by something higher? This isn't about ignoring people, it's about being withheld, cloaked, divinely protected from expression that would have leaked your power instead of lighting your path. See, not everyone deserves to hear the new version of your voice, the one that's been reshaped by clarity, refined by absence, and upgraded by truth. Some people were only ever meant to hear your echo, the aftermath, not the origin. And that's why Mercury's current alignment isn't just muting the noise, it's locking the vault. Your thoughts now feel heavier, not because they're negative, but because they carry weight, sacred weight. Words are no longer words. They're spells, contracts, commitments. And that's exactly why the universe is being selective with who gets access. You're not being quiet, you're being encrypted. There are times when the cosmos will let you speak freely, and times when it wraps its hand around your voice and says, "Not now." This is one of those times. Because certain truths you've accessed now aren't meant to be shared immediately. They're meant to be integrated first, not posted, not debated, not diluted in back and forths with people who can't even meet you at your current frequency. Your silence isn't absence, it's alignment. And some people, they'll misread it. They'll think you're avoiding, hiding, maybe even retreating. But what they don't understand is this. Silence doesn't mean you're not speaking. It means you've outgrown the need to be heard by the wrong audience. So if you've been feeling like no one understands you lately, good. You weren't supposed to be understood right now. You were supposed to be missed. And that void, that tension, that echo of your presence, that's the exact medicine the universe prescribed them. Some rejections aren't rejections at all. They're redirections dressed as silence. Let's flip the lens for a second. What if this isn't about you disappearing? What if it's not even about you choosing silence? What if you're being hidden? What if there's a higher intelligence moving like smoke behind the curtain, pulling you gently out of visibility, not as punishment, not as isolation, but as protection? Because right now, this isn't a time for exposure. It's a time for encryption. This shift is strategic. It's like Mercury is placing a cosmic hand over your light, not to dim it, but to safeguard it until the world is actually ready. And let's be honest, most of the world isn't. That friend who stopped calling, that door that didn't open, that opportunity that almost came and then dissolved into nothing, it might look like rejection on the surface, but if you could zoom out, you'd see something different entirely. You're not being cut off, you're being covered. Not everyone deserves front row access to your transformation. Not everyone can be trusted with a version of you that hasn't fully integrated yet. And right now, this transit doesn't just blur the signal, it filters the audience. Even the people who care about you might feel distant. It's not always them stepping away. Sometimes it's something bigger, stepping in between, placing you behind a veil, delaying that response, ending that conversation, closing that tab. And it goes both ways. You might be ghosting people without even meaning to. You might be skipping messages, canceling plans, ignoring calls. Not because you're careless, but because your energy is quietly obeying something ancient. Your withdrawal isn't weakness, it's obedience to a frequency higher than explanation. Sometimes, the people you think are abandoning you are actually shielding you. Sometimes the space you're sitting in isn't loneliness, it's sacred holding. The universe tucking you away in a pocket of quiet so deep, even your own ego can't find you. This is what divine secrecy feels like. You're being guarded like a message that hasn't reached the right inbox. You're the song that won't play until the needle hits the groove. And when it does, everything changes. But until then, don't chase the noise. You're not missing out. You're being held back on purpose. Your words stopped being loud the moment your energy started doing the talking. Have you noticed how quiet you've become lately? Not the kind of quiet that comes from sadness or anxiety, but the kind that feels sovereign, weighted, controlled, intentional. The kind of quiet that makes people listen harder. You don't speak to fill silence anymore. You speak when it matters, and when you do, it cuts through the air like thunder. This isn't a trend, it's a shift. And it's not just emotional, it's cosmic. With Mercury ascending to higher wavelengths, your voice isn't just a tool now, it's a transmission. Every sentence, coded, every pause, loaded, every word that leaves your mouth now travels through a corridor of unseen frequencies. The people tuned in will hear it loud and clear. The ones who aren't, it'll fly right over them. And that's the beauty of it. You're no longer trying to be understood. You're speaking for those who already feel you. You don't need to repeat yourself. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to repackage your truth in soft language just to make it digestible. You say what you say and let the energy behind it carry the rest. This shift reprograms how you express. Suddenly, silence becomes your punctuation mark. You're no longer available for debates, for clarifications, for small talk. You've upgraded from conversation to communication. And communication at this level isn't even verbal half the time. You'll walk into a room and shift the temperature. You'll say, "I'm fine," and they'll feel the unsaid. This is Mercury in its higher octave. Not trickster, not chatterbox, not logic, but oracle. And your mouth is now its vessel. You speak from a place of alignment. Your words echo differently now. They hit softer but land deeper. You're not just saying less because you're tired of explaining. You're saying less because there's finally nothing left to prove. And the people who feel this shift in you, they'll either step closer with reverence or back away in confusion. Either way, you won't explain yourself, because now you don't speak for validation. You speak for resonance. And if they don't feel it, it wasn't meant for them anyway. Some people weren't strong. They were standing on you the whole time. Let's be honest, a lot of people only felt confident because you were in the room. Not because you were cheering them on, but because your presence gave them someone to measure themselves against. They mistook proximity to your power as proof of their own. And when you pulled your energy back, the illusion cracked like glass under pressure. Because Mercury's new alignment isn't just spiritual, it's surgical. It slices through egos dressed as confidence. It exposes the scaffolding people built out of your validation, your patience, your attention. And now that scaffolding is collapsing, loudly, visibly, you were never trying to compete, but they were. You weren't playing mind games, but they were. And now that you're gone, they're left standing in a silence so sharp, it echoes everything they pretended not to hear. Your absence didn't shrink you, it exposed who was leaning on your presence just to feel tall. You didn't change, you just left. And in leaving, you accidentally revealed the truth. They thought they were above you, but only because they were standing on the foundation of your forgiveness, your accessibility, your unspoken loyalty. Now, with Mercury pulling the veil back, those same people are being forced to meet themselves at eye level. No comparisons, no distractions, just them, raw and unfiltered. And many don't like what they see. This energy doesn't punish, it reveals. It makes people realize they were never unbothered. They were just benefiting from being close to someone who made everything feel easier to handle. And now they feel their own emotional weight for the first time, without you carrying it for them. They thought silence was weakness. They thought detachment meant defeat. But now they're watching you move with clarity while their own emotional compass spins wildly. Because it was never your voice that held power. It was your presence. And now that it's gone, so is their illusion of control. Some people don't understand your worth until your energy is no longer available for translation. This isn't the type of absence that people bounce back from overnight. It lingers, it stings, it teaches, not out of cruelty, but necessity. Because when Mercury activates this kind of reflective frequency, it doesn't just echo what you've said, it sends back everything they never did. Every message they left on read. Every time they rolled their eyes at your vulnerability. Every truth you held back because you didn't want to make things uncomfortable. Now, that discomfort is arriving anyway, and it's arriving with clarity. They'll replay conversations that once felt meaningless. They'll hear the tone in your voice that they ignored the first time. They'll realize the silence wasn't an accident, it was a response. Your withdrawal became the mirror, and they can't unsee what it's showing them. The beauty of this moment is that it's not revenge. You didn't scheme for this. You didn't orchestrate a lesson. The universe simply took over, and the silence you're sitting in is now doing more teaching than words ever could. You see, when you pull back, your absence doesn't become empty space. It becomes a screen onto which their own behavior is projected. Loud, unfiltered, inescapable. They're not haunted by your anger. They're haunted by their own actions. And if they're paying attention, this could change them. Because Mercury, in this sacred alignment, doesn't just expose people, it gives them a chance to feel remorse, a chance to grow, a chance to come back better if they're willing to come back honest. And if they don't, that's fine too. Because you've already moved into a different timeline, one where your boundaries are not up for debate, one where your energy is too expensive for guilt trips and half apologies. Now, every step you take in silence becomes a message. Every moment of non-response becomes a broadcast. You've stopped speaking, but now the lesson begins. And whether they ever say it or not, they felt it. You were never seeking the spotlight. You were becoming it. Your presence was the light in the room. Your compassion was the warmth. Your loyalty was the gravity holding it all together. But they confused your patience for passivity, your grace for weakness, and your forgiveness for forgetfulness. Now everything's shifted. The silence has done its job. The distance spoke louder than your words ever could. And now the moment arrives, not for revenge, not for bitterness, but for the light to return. Only this time, it's not shining on them. It's shining from you. This is what the cycle was building toward. You've gone through the dark. You've sat in the confusion. You've questioned yourself, doubted your worth, wondered why they couldn't just treat you right. And yet, here you are, not bitter, but brighter. Not colder, but clearer. Not smaller, but sovereign. And now they're watching. They might come back. Some already are. But now the terms are different. Because this time, you're not offering energy blindly. You're not handing out access like it's unlimited. This isn't about cutting people off forever. It's about choosing who gets to stand in your light and why. If someone comes forward with genuine accountability, not fake apologies, not manipulative guilt trips, but real growth, then maybe, just maybe, they deserve to be seen again. Maybe they've learned. Maybe they've changed. And maybe they deserve a second chance. After all, we've all fallen short. We've all needed forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's sacred discernment, and only the brave receive it. This new energy doesn't thrive on pride, it thrives on precision. You're no longer giving because it feels comfortable, you're giving because it aligns. You're not pouring into everyone, you're reserving that light for those who can reflect it back with care. Because if they couldn't honor you in your absence, they don't deserve to bask in your radiance now. You've evolved, you've remembered your power, and the ones who truly see you now, after everything, they always did, and they always will. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.